the camera, so I didn't do this a priori because it's a phone. So I think I like that. I think yeah, because when I sit back, but I think I'm gonna probably gonna tilt it a bit so it doesn't look odd when I'm looking up at my screen. The universe quake by shudder. Yeah, and I'm gonna get this up on my desktop. I'll sit back a little bit. And um, I am gonna find something on here to look at until people pop up. Oh, I forgot I was supposed to watch the House of the Dragons season finale. Um,
For a lot of people, it is practical.
oh, yeah, I'll wait till
What
people want
mechanisms
to.
are in place today that prevent you from having the same?
Uh, Probably gonna watch a little bit of Red Pill stuff. But let me.
What I saw was the virtual nature of.
Do, do.
Please. Big odors, a big distraction. Try Febreze Air Mist. It fights everyday odors to instantly restore just clean freshness. And when odors make their way into fabrics, grab Febreze fabric spray. It penetrates deep to fight tough odors, transforming them into scents you'll love. With Febreze Air and fabric, your whole home is doggone fresh.
Their own way is trying to get peace. They're trying to maintain peace because we're not giving them peace in relationships, in life. We're not allowing people just to live and let live. They have to live exactly how we want them to live. And I'm saying we women. Women need to step up and talk about this. And anytime we do, I get bombarded with really mean and sometimes threatening messages from women. If you're seeing the messages, those are probably the nice ones because some of the threatening ones you have to report.
Welcome to Management Highlights Daily. Every so often, a woman sits down, starts talking, and doesn't stop And every single word out of her mouth is exactly what this channel has been saying for years, in real time, out loud, on camera. And gentlemen, when that happens, you don't interrupt. Yes, yes. This woman is cooking. And when a woman is cooking, let her cook. Let's go.
They were pushing, it wasn't just a girl power, it was a girl boss. And there is a difference between girl power, 90s girl power, and girl boss. I guess it's sort of like socialism to communism. It's really the transition phase is now that I've learned. So maybe there's
The
not a difference.
transition phase.
Now I have to be against girl power. I have to rethink everything I've watched in the 90s because this is what happens when you're on that slippery slope. It just keeps going. You're snowballing into this bigger issue, and it's never just going to stay in that thing once you cross that line. And so we crossed that line into allowing feminism into our girls, girls rule, boys drool. And yeah, that's where now we hate men. This misandrist crap is from that. That's where it happens. And I know some people are upset when I say women are taught like I'm not giving them agency, but it is a brainwashing cult. We are brainwashed through everything we watch. We have to watch ourselves as we're watching things. We have to be aware, what is the message this wants to give me, no matter if it's good or bad. Like the hero's journey, the original Odyssey, would be a great message, but it's still a message. And so you do have to be aware of what the purpose is of that you're watching.
Let her cook, gentlemen. Notice where she lands. Every story carries a message, whether you catch it or not. We made that same case in They Removed the Reward. She's living it from the other side of the screen.
I'm here to see my gynecologist.
That's why we do these movie breakdowns from a red pill lens, because these movies are quiet propaganda.
Rom-coms have ruined. That's not how love works. That's a lust thing. That's a temporary thing. And if you're really in your relationships on those type, you're not going to be in long-term relationships. Love is not a feeling. It is not a feeling. It is absolute choice. You definitely don't like people all the time, but there's a choice that you have to constantly make. To love someone is an unconditional thing, and it's not about how they make you feel. There's a lot of times where you don't feel the love for your child who's sitting there yelling at you and saying they hate you, right? Because you're disciplining them. You're not feeling loving feelings, but obviously you love them. It's a choice that you have to make for someone else. It's just how when we're in marriages, everyone is being told to get married, and this is the message that women are especially getting. Get married to be happy. If you're getting married to be happy, you're doing it wrong. You should be married to serve your husband. You should be married to serve your family, depending on if you're a husband, wife. You should be married to serve that better whole. And you have, in your relationship, you can decide how that works, how you want it to work in that dynamic, but you need to be outward focused. You should not ever hang your happiness hat on anyone else. You can't do it. But if you're sitting there and you're serving your spouse, then that person should be getting their needs met. That's how it works. And then they're serving you. They're serving their family.
Did you hear that, Dr. Anna?
Starting with the first part, useful. What, you might ask, does Dr. Terabin thinks makes a woman useful? Well, serving a man.
In order to identify opportunities where she can be of service. But Orion, some women will say, why would I want to serve a man?
I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. That's a pretty disgusting way to view dynamics between men and women. It reveals a very hierarchical view of the genders, where women are relinquished to the role of servant. They're basically beneath men.
To serve, not to be a servant. That's the distinction, gentlemen. The same one we already had to make for you, Dr. Anna. Janice, read.
To help achieve something or to be useful as something. Or, if something serves you, it is good or helpful for you.
The Merriam-Webster defines it as
To be of use, to be favorable, opportune, or convenient, to be worthy of reliance or trust.
She just dismantled the entire follow your heart model of relationships that's been sold to 2 full generations. Love isn't a feeling that arrives and departs on its own schedule. It's a decision you renew on purpose, especially on the days it doesn't feel good. And in a real relationship, that choice runs in both directions.
Because it was 10 years, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like 10 years of marriage, and I'm not happy, and I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I'm not in love with you anymore. So that was it. Wow.
Thoreau, I do not know how to say his last name, but I've seen him. I really did enjoy the Scientology movie that he made a while back. It was obviously biased, but that was fun to watch. And so I did watch the Manosphere documentary, and that was not fun to watch. It was not even about the Manosphere. It made up stuff, and it just looked at one section, and it didn't actually discuss what any of the issue might be. Like, if you have a problem with the Manosphere, I'm not in the Manosphere, but I understand why it exists, and I understand that people are taking that and manipulating people in different areas, but there's also valid reasons for that. Men going their own way is Manosphere, but it's not the same as, say, like a black pill Manosphere person, or someone who's just completely anti-woman. There are different groups of men going their own way is trying to get peace. They're trying to maintain peace because we're not giving them peace in relationships, in life. We're not allowing people just to live and let live. They have to live exactly how we want them to live. And I'm saying we women. But I felt like it was so discounting the millions of men who are dealing with misinjury, who are dealing with horrible, hateful women who hate men. They're not shy about it. And there's systems out there. And the more that I interact with men in these locations, because YouTube and different places, they only show my stuff to men. And when they do show it to women, the women tend to hate it and be very angry.
You always beat them with the definition of the manosphere. Don't you agree, Mark Manson? Louis Theroux?
My first surrounded claim is that the manosphere is a billion-dollar business that profits off keeping men angry and insecure.
The foolishness. This is Louis Theroux saying Miami is the manosphere's spiritual home in that goofy Netflix documentary.
No, it's
So
not.
I'd come to its spiritual home,
No, it's
Miami.
not.
You guys are killing me. The comment saying you can't wait to make your pilgrimage
Oh,
to Miami.
I need
The
you versus
manosphere is
Maryland.
decentralized. Men going their own way is a philosophy. Not every guy in the manosphere agrees with it. The women who get angry are ignorant. And yesterday's video is proof of how a man decides to opt out for plausible reasons that have nothing to do with hating women.
You're a writer with a profile. Were you worried about your reputation being damaged?
It definitely makes me more hesitant and makes me reconsider who I want to hang out with, just based on that. But also, I think a lot of us are thinking about this just generally, like we've all got public profiles now. Yeah, I think we're all reconsidering like safety concerns about who we hang out with, yeah.
Right. If you have a thought that is different, that is not destroying our world, the entire world, then yeah, we're going to have to say it. We're going to have to get up and not be lazy or not be scared and actually talk about it. And then Adam also says, I'm here and would be considered MGTOW. Obviously, I don't hate women. Thank you, Adam. And yes, you've been here for a while. Thank you for your continued support. And I do appreciate you. And I'm glad that you don't hate women. And I definitely understand the needing your peace and needing to continue your life and not be pulled into some of this craziness. A lot of times it's just you check out because why is that helpful, right? And that's what men are saying. It's just I don't have the time or energy and my life has been better. Unfortunately, a lot of these men, it wasn't that they told me, okay, so this is not me just speaking for them, that it's not necessarily they wanted to just go their own way. It was because of the situations, because of the people, because of the women that they're dealing with. It just, they cannot live in a constant state of that sort of stress. And men are very resilient, but they're also intelligent. They're not going to just continue to be in that situation. Women tend to stay in situations a lot longer, I think, than men that they should.
Febreze. Love your plugins but wish you had more scent control? Meet the Febreze Plug Scent Booster. Enjoy the same 50 days of continuous scent as Febreze Plug, including a cord for flexible placement options and a boost button for extra scent. Febreze Plug Scent Booster.
You make me feel so miserable.
Flonase relieves your worst allergy symptoms so you can start feeling better the same day and save your relationship with nature. Flonase.
You know, I'm looking at Instagram, and a lot of stuff that I started enjoying on Facebook in the past few years that has nothing to do with following friends is on Instagram as well. And often there's this crossover between both now where you post
This car
content to one, you can cross-pollinate it over to Facebook as well. So, there's really no need to be on Facebook anymore whatsoever, other than to stay in contact with family and friends. And even then, you don't actually need to keep your Facebook account. You can just keep your Facebook Messenger to stay in touch with those folks.
And peace was cheaper alone.
But you don't really need to be on Facebook anymore for a lot of stuff.
Staying in bad situations longer than men. If anything, the divorce filing statistics tell the opposite story. Women initiate 70 to 80% of divorces. If women were truly the ones enduring longer, we'd expect men to be the ones pulling the plug more often. The data points the other way.
I think for a woman, you check out many years earlier. It takes us a long time, especially with children, young kids. You're always like, oh, we stay for the family, stay for the children.
There's no protections. And so now we're seeing there's limited protections for women because this is where it goes, because they eat their own. They're not over there saying, oh, now we're going to be happy. No, whoever's on top, women put themselves on top, and now it's time to tear down women because it's always the oppressor and the victim. And it's going to nonstop be that, to continue to tear it down, to subvert society until there's nothing left. And they're wanting to do it. They want to create these systems. They want to, I believe, that the government does pay different cities and things in different countries and around. They're paying for these riots, for these things to happen, to show that everything's falling apart, so that people will start believing that we need to destroy everything and put it back together better.
That's the whole ideology in one sentence, gentlemen. A framework built entirely around identifying an oppressor doesn't stop once it wins. It just needs a new oppressor. And eventually, that search turns inward or outward towards something that can't even fight back. We've documented this all series. The chatbots, the AI companions. The new oppressor is AI.
All of this is a perfect distillation of the cultural moment we're in. AI adoption is increasingly being framed as an essential tool for empowerment, ambition, and survival, especially for women.
Run that back.
Towards something that can't even fight back. We've documented this all series. The chatbots, the AI companions. The new oppressor is AI.
All of this is a perfect distillation of the cultural moment we're in. AI adoption is increasingly being framed as an essential tool for empowerment, ambition, and survival, especially for women, even as the technology is increasingly associated with surveillance, labor displacement, deep fakes, and harassment. It should come as no surprise that many of the people who are championing this also champion girl boss feminism.
So around there but before that, it wasn't that I just didn't like it. I just thought, I figured just another brainwashing thing that women have is the rom-com, which I'm really against now, but we grew up in that age. And so you're just thinking you're going to do life and it's going to happen. So it was around 25 that I decided it's not just happening. I have to actually try to meet someone. I'm not just going to walk in a room and some guy's going to be like her and it's just going to chase me. Rom-coms have ruined. That's not how love works. That's a lust thing. That's a temporary thing. And if you're really going your relationships on those type, you're not going to be in long-term relationships. Love is not a feeling. It is not a feeling. It is absolute choice. Rom-coms are mostly about cheating. That's what Adam Bailey says. Yeah, it really feels like it's teaching women some really bad behaviors. And it's always about like, I'm already with someone and he's a good guy. Or sometimes they're like, they show that's a bad relationship that you're in, but a lot of times it's just like someone who's, I guess, stable and boring. I don't know. You meet someone and just can't help it. They're not things you should be teaching people. Have self-control, people. Make decisions, make commitments, and stick to them. It doesn't mean you're not going to find other people attractive. It means you have to make choices every day that are for the good of your life and the good of your relationship. Being married, it doesn't mean you're not attracted to someone. Attraction isn't love, and there is a difference. And really, ladies don't seem to know that.
We've made this point on this channel before with our romantic consumerism series. Hollywood sold an entire generation of women a fantasy model of love, then billed the emotional cost to the men who couldn't compete with a 2-hour movie. She's just confirmed it from the inside.
Women need to step up and talk about this. And anytime we do, I get bombarded with really mean and sometimes threatening messages from women. If you're seeing the messages, those are probably the nice ones because some of the threatening ones you have to report. But and that just makes me need to talk about it more. So then it's, oh, she's obsessed with talking about this. If you're going to attack me like that, this is showing me that I'm not wrong. This is a problem. And how many women do want to get out there and be called really horrible things? If anyone knows me, I don't curse and I don't like to do that. It's fine if you do. I don't care about that. I just mean they're really going at it, just being absolutely horrible, calling me names. But that tends to be what you do because you want to divide and you want to conquer and you want to shut people up. And so it's more important for someone like me who is fine with getting women yelling at me and getting canceled and whatever. You just have to make a sacrifice and talk about it because someone needs to talk about it. Someone needs to know. I know there are young girls, there are girls out there that are feeling this is weird and they don't know that other people say, yeah, you're right, this is not appropriate behavior for women. We need to care about humans. We need to care about the society that we live in. They call it suicidal empathy. That's stupid. That's not what I don't even agree with that. I don't think there's any empathy in it. It's not empathetic. I guess maybe because
that's
you add
why
that
it's
whole
called
phrase,
suicidal
it
empathy,
means something
because
completely
he's saying
different.
that it's not true empathy. That's the point.
That's not what I don't.
Or he's saying, well, anyway, or he's saying that empathy can be misplaced and that empathy itself is bad. And I've actually seen rational arguments for that.
Behavior for women. We need to care about humans. We need to care about the society that we live in. They call it suicidal empathy. That's stupid. That's not what I don't even agree with that. I don't think there's any empathy in it. It's not empathetic. I guess maybe because you add that whole phrase, it means something completely different. And so maybe it's just like a play on words at this point, but there's no empathy in modern women. But there are many women who do have that, who have compassion, but I do believe that we're being bullied, we're being treated really poorly, and a lot of people don't want to be put in that place. So here I am, trying.
That's the cost, gentlemen. She's not describing hypothetical backlash. She's describing what actually happens in real time to a woman who says the same things the men in this space say every day. And she draws the same conclusion we do. The ferocity of the reaction is the proof, not the refutation.
Obviously, I shouldn't have to say this, but I do have to say this because people are going to be like, what about DA? I'm not promoting bad relationships. This isn't a healthy relationship that you have chosen to put your needs aside and focus on your family, focus on your husband, focus on your children. This is a sacrifice that you make, and it actually helps you be less selfish. And that's how we're supposed to treat society as well. We're not supposed to think about our own needs. We're supposed to think about other people only. We're supposed to die to self. We're supposed to think about only other people and what's the best for everyone else. And that's what you do in a relationship. It's a choice to love. It's not easy, but you have to make that choice every single day. And it actually makes your life better as you start to stop thinking about yourself. And again, you're in a relationship with someone who's also doing these same things. And so you're both getting all your needs met. Crazy concept, but you're not doing it for your needs to be met because you're not focused on what you need. You're outside of yourself. I really feel like that's the way to do every relationship, not just a marriage, but friendships and life. If you're in a work environment, it's really about being as selfless as possible. That's at least what I've been doing. And over the last decade, I've been getting better and better at it, but my life is infinitely better. Maybe you can judge me objectively on what you think is success, but my success is that I have peace and that I'm having decent relationships with people. I don't get triggered by everything. That to me is successful. I have peace in life. I'm happy and I feel like I have a better purpose.
We let her cook today, gentlemen, because sometimes the argument lands heavier coming from someone who isn't supposed to be making it. She's not part of the manosphere. She told you that herself, but she arrived at nearly every conclusion this channel has spent years documenting. Love as a choice, not a feeling. Marriage as service, not self-fulfillment. Men opting out for peace, not out of fear. An ideology that eventually turns and consumes its own. She said it in real time and got called horrible things for it. That's not a coincidence. That's confirmation. Listen to all, follow none. Manosphere, we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.
Our two Frenchies, they were just constantly itching. Once we switched to Tide Free and Gentle, it's been a game changer.
It's an effective detergent, but it's very gentle on the skin. It's free of dyes and perfumes, which can cause sensitivity of the skin.
I'm just waiting for
Tested,
this ad so I
trusted,
can get
cleaner.
to the next video.
The captain is running a human trafficking operation.
He's gonna pay. We've got a problem on the ship. I'll need all the help you can get.
I'm gonna watch another one of his videos.
Grab our new Cat-tastic Kids Meal and get a free Gabby's Dollhouse headband.
Hey, I'm just getting ready for game night. Come on in.
It was basically a woman I'd stopped seeing casually late one night, got on Instagram and kind of fired off some posts, and it was like, at my boy Bonesy, I'm about to tear you in.
Welcome to Management Highlights Daily, where we call out effeminist foolishness, expose women's hypocrisy, dismantle double standards, and stand up for men. When it comes to men opting out, there are logical reasons behind it. And when you hear these reasons, you have to ask yourself the question, where does the misogynist label come from in this dynamic? Today, we're going to listen to a story from Bones that led to him opting out. And we've got a special character unlocked to help us strengthen our point about women being women first.
I absolutely love sex. I'm sorry, I just love sex. It's something that's,
Yes. My mic was on again, so if you hear laughing in the background, you know where it's coming from. Let's go!
Bones, you're currently single. Do you feel a sense of anxiety around sex and dating?
Probably not so much around serious dating. I'm, 37, I've got a child. I'm really happy with my life. I've also got time to go out with my mates still, like when I don't have my child. But I've definitely seen in the last 20 years just the landscape change a lot, and I think there's a lot of more awareness and wariness of the risks, both to physical risks and reputational risks, and yeah.
How does that landscape changing affect your interaction with women?
For me, I make it more like when I'm going out with my friends, my friends are my focus. It's great to make new connections with people just in a friendly way as well. Definitely moments. I think like the reputational side is certainly a very new thing with social media. I think we've all seen like people get drunk on the power of social media platforms, especially when drinking, sound off on their exes. It's great theatre if you're not involved in it yourself. It's good gossip, gets people going. I did have a little taste of it, not like a proper dip, but like I did feel what those people felt.
Do you mind sharing what that experience was?
Yeah, so it wasn't anything too nefarious, but it was basically a woman I'd stopped seeing casually late one night, got on Instagram and kind of fired off some posts, and it was like, at my boy Bonesy, I'm about to tear you a new asshole. And it's like, he used my name in a story. It was kind of shocking to read. It was threatening. I spoke to her, like once I saw it was up, I kind of woke up, it was there, and I explained how I thought this was a misunderstanding. She took the post down. She said it had been resolved, and she put up a photo of like a rainbow and said, I'm all about positivity now. But yeah, definitely kind of dipped my toes in that feeling that I see a lot of people have gone through, which is someone's writing something about me on the internet and I have no control of it. And it's something that I don't believe is true at all. And yeah, they're able to kind of post with impunity because you don't have a team of lawyers behind you to tell them to take it down. And it's like, yes, say it again. What can you do? And yeah, you really feel that sense of panic.
What can you do? It always starts with a question triggered by a cause. This woman decided to throw a tantrum on the internet for the world to see. Why?
And I feel like I feel like because I feel like I'm feeling like I feel now that's what I just feel right now. Sometimes I feel like 100%, sometimes I feel like 50%. Right now it's 75.
She went by feel and felt like destroying this man on the internet in that particular moment. And when she got validation for it, she had no problem taking it down and rejoining the positivity movement without ever reckoning with the damage she'd already done. So what are you going to do now, Mr. Bones?
You're a writer with a profile. Were you worried about your reputation being damaged?
It definitely makes me more hesitant and makes me reconsider who I want to hang out with, just based on that. But also, I think a lot of us are thinking about this just generally, like we've all got public profiles now. Yeah, I think we're all reconsidering like safety concerns about who we hang out with, yeah.
Would it be fair to say then it's changed the way you approach dating and sex?
Yeah, I think definitely.
You tell me, is this man a misogynist now? Is it misogynist for a man choosing to protect himself and his reputation? Does this man look lost or confused for avoiding situations like this? Are we misogynists for sharing his story with the manosphere to spread awareness among men to be cautious of situations like this? Let's be very clear. We do not hate women, but we are critical of behavior we see in men and women both when it damages people who did nothing to deserve it.
Daniel, you're a clinical psychologist specializing in sexual well-being. And what about men?
I think that for men, in some way, they also want to promote the idea of autonomy. They don't want to necessarily be the creep, right? The person who is pressuring, but that then links to feeling maybe more anxious. And in that anxiety, that may make it difficult to know, how do I actually negotiate this? The rules and the norms regarding sexuality and relationships more broadly are changing quite rapidly. If I'm not going to be perhaps the macho, dominant, perhaps aggressive man, who am I now, and where are the rules to be able to do this in a meaningful way?
This is one of our biggest critiques of modern dating, especially in the years after Me Too. The old rules got torn up, but nobody replaced them with anything clear. And into that vacuum walked a lot of confused, anxious men trying to figure out what's actually expected of them.
Natalie, can women send mixed signals when it comes to sex?
Most definitely. We are so confused. We don't understand sometimes, and I say we, I'll talk for myself, but sometimes we're so not in contact with who we are that we will send out some kind of message that's completely confused to a man when we don't even know what we actually want. We don't even have an intention behind what we're sending to that guy. So that's very confusing, I believe, for a man.
Could that be seen as a sense of entitlement?
From women? Oh, definitely for me. Yeah. We are very entitled women. We're entitled to change our mind all the time. We're entitled to not know what we're doing. We're entitled to all kinds of things in our mind. And when we sit down with ourselves and we start looking at all that and taking responsibility, then we start realizing that there's some stuff that we need to clear up.
I think there's a prevailing myth out there that men should know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And it causes a lot of anxiety for men.
Listen to that answer closely, gentlemen. She's not being defensive about it. She's naming it herself. Women, in her words, are entitled to change their mind, entitled to not know what they're doing, entitled to send signals they don't fully understand themselves. That's an honest admission. It's also exactly the situation men are told to navigate flawlessly. Read the mood correctly every time with someone who's telling you up front that even she doesn't always know what her own signals mean. The foolishness.
So is having sex when you're not in the mood the same as having sex without consent?
It is different for me. I absolutely love sex. I'm sorry, I just love sex. It's something that's I just love it. When I'm not in the mood, that doesn't mean I don't love it. And there is a part of me
The
that
laughing in the
I'm not
background
saying
is
enjoying it,
hilarious.
but that is okay with that.
Have you ever pushed to have sex when the other person wasn't in the mood?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, and that's part of me taking my responsibility about sex. I have pushed myself on men when they didn't want to, and that pretty much, looking back now, it's like, wow, okay, that's not on.
This is pure gold. Gentlemen, I want to slow down here because this is the part of the interview that deserves to be taken seriously, not.
When head shaving goes wrong, hiding feels like the only choice. But the Philips Head Shaver Pro makes hiding a thing of the past. With smoothness you'll demand everywhere. The confidence to raise your standards.
I need a new Norelco. I haven't had one in 2 years. It finally conked out on me. But it lasted a long time. It lasted about...
Actually, she used her Care Credit credit card to get a little work done.
It lasted about 10 years before it
Care
conked
Credit
out.
isn't just for vet care.
We could talk
I need a
about
new
how
one,
our
though.
hardware
I love
is
those
AI
Norelco electric shavers.
How it's built to scale reliably across thousands of screens. We could talk about how our software is self-healing and purpose-built, or the fact that we power some of the most visited destinations in the world.
Not turned into a punchline. What Natalie just described, pushing sex on someone who wasn't in the mood, is, by her own words, non-consensual. She says it herself.
I have pushed myself on men.
Hey,
when they didn't want
what's up?
To her credit, she owns it.
I don't
as
remember
something
you.
she's had to sit with. Here's the point worth making, and it's
I
not.
don't
a joke.
remember your
If a
screen
man had
name,
said
but
the
I'm
exact
doing
same
well.
sentence
Thanks
on
for
camera,
asking.
Yes.
I've pushed myself on a partner who didn't want it. That clip would not be a laugh line in a podcast. It would be the headline. It would follow him for the rest of his career. There would be no room for, that's part of me taking responsibility. There would just be consequences.
So this is literally how the video starts.
Warning, this video is an attempt at a good faith, nuanced look at the fictional movie Obsession and the characters therein, which will probably upset some of you for some reason.
Immediately I'm pissed. You know that saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it? Well, in this case, it's what he says and how he says it. Like, tone will continue to be a problem.
I'm sorry if...
Immediately no. Immediately no. Wrap it up. We cannot be starting this apology with an I'm sorry if.
I'm sorry. I do respect women. I do not think women deserve to be picked. Apparently, I need to say this very clearly. So, that is my thoughts on the topic.
You probably should have not looked at the
Spoke about
notes
martial arts and then it's been over a year, but glad
That's
things are
the
good.
actual double standard.
Oh, that's why, because it's been
Not
over a
who's
year.
allowed to want sex? Who's allowed to admit doing something wrong and still walk away?
But yeah,
with
that's
the room
that's
laughing
what's up.
along with her.
Yes, I did.
I've pivoted a bit. Like
Mom
I've
has
stopped doing
relying on
topics
body
just because
language to
people
determine your
don't
next
really
move
tune in
in
for the
that fight.
topics.
Yeah,
When I have a topic, people will just completely
there
ignore
was
it,
this girl, you know,
or
forgot the
people
part.
haven't
She
been
knows
showing
that
up
I'm
at all
interested in her,
because
so
I've
I've
changed my
already
time
communicated
slot.
my interest in her
I used to
previously.
stream later at
And there was
night,
one
and
fine day where
because I
we
get
were
up way
just
early,
having a
that just
conversation and
doesn't
she
work
was
for me
dressing
anymore.
up to go out.
So
And the whole conversation started by she saying, "Hey, can you
at
check
this
if my
time
dress
of
is
day,
okay?"
there's a
And
lot
she
of
went and
competition
changed,
with
and
other
she was trying many different dresses.
things,
And then we
other
sorted it out.
other
And then
streams,
she said, "My hair
videos,
is not okay. I'm gonna do my hair." So
other
we sat down
platforms.
next
People
to each
got
other, with her doing her
maybe
hair,
people,
me having a
some people
conversation,
working, going to the
and
gym with
fluid
the
action
family,
signs. I can see
getting
signs
some
on her face.
booty.
And then
I don't
she was
know,
doing her hair,
but
and
this
her
is
got
not the
tangled.
greatest
So
time
she
to
was like,
stream.
"Can
But
you
I'm
help
not
me?"
going to stay up
So all of these are signs for me that like the
past
girl
midnight to
wants
stream
me
anymore.
to do something. So
Not
I
unless
helped
I'm
her out,
overseas,
I
so
touched her
then it's
hair,
actually like
obviously, because
afternoon
she said
here.
that.
But
And then she felt my hands are
I
hurting.
mean, afternoon
with too much
there,
hair
and then
tying,
it's
so
midnight here. But
give
other
us
than that,
small massage.
I
And she
don't
was
do
like,
the
"Wow,
late night
this is so
streams
good."
anymore, so I
Felt
don't
good
get
hands.
as
So every
much
time
of
you
an
get a
audience
compliment
as I
from the
used
other
to.
person,
But
you
even
feel
when
like
I
it's
was
a
up late,
positive response.
the
And
audience
she gave
was
all these
quick
signs.
crater.
We had like arms around each other, had arms around her shoulders, and she was like
Maybe
really
once the
pretty cute
election
together.
season, the
A month
midterm
later,
election season
there was
kicks in, I
another
might
different
get more of
conversation
an
happening
audience.
in the
Because
house where
2
she
years
jumped in
ago,
and she was
during
like, "Yeah,
the
he
presidential
touched
election,
me
that's when I started getting a lot of
inappropriately,
attention.
and I
We'll see
wasn't
if that happens.
comfortable.
Meanwhile,
with
I'm
it,
probably gonna
This is the flip side of the
start
same
doing more
coin,
long
gentlemen.
form video
Amal isn't a
content.
villain in this story, and he's not a hero either. He's a case study. He read compliments, closeness, and body language as green lights.
But I
That's
do want to do some
precisely
more
the
martial
standard
arts
modern
related
dating keeps
stuff as
handing
well.
men. Don't ask, just know. Read the room, feel the energy. And here's what nobody tells you when they hand you that standard. You can read every signal available to you, act in good faith, and still end up blamed for it a month later in a conversation you're not even part of, with zero warning that anything was wrong in the moment. That is not a fair test to give anyone. Not because women are lying when they raise these things. Sometimes they're right to, but because you should have just known is not a rule. It's a standard that can only ever be applied after the fact, which means no man can ever actually pass it in real time. He can only find out later whether he passed.
Sarah, you've experienced sexual violence. How do you feel about body language when it comes to consent?
Verbal consent is key. The less
And so
you
my
know
format
the
now,
person,
I watch
understand that a lot of
YouTube stuff
people
and
think
react to
that
it.
maybe that
So I
ruins
think the
the
long
mood,
form
but for
content
me
is
and
a
the
good
people close
idea.
to
And for
me,
sure,
I
always
think
nice to
asking for
discuss
consent can be
philosophies
really
with your fellow
sexy,
artists.
even if it's just
Yeah, I
for
appreciate
the
it.
fact that it shows that someone's
Yeah, I
educated.
want to do some more
I find
videos,
stimulating.
hopefully with some
And if we
friends.
need to
I don't mind doing this
overcorrect
solo
and make sure
videos as well,
everything's
but
verbal
prefer to
all the
do them with
time to
friends
get
or
to a
whatever.
point where we
So
fix
it's like a
this empathy
dialogue.
deficit when it comes to reading other people's
That'd
body
be better.
language, then that's what we have to do, whether
And then I'll
it's
fill in the gaps
sexy
with
or not.
Hold on, gentlemen. Compare
these
that
live
to what we
streams.
just heard from Natalie and Amal. Amal read compliments, closeness, and body language, and still ended up blamed a month later. Sarah is telling you on camera that body language was never good enough in the first place. Her standard is verbal every time, no exceptions, no matter how well you think you're reading the room. So which is it, gentlemen? Do you read the signs like Amal tried to, or do you ask out loud like Sarah says you must? These are not the same rule. And if the room itself can't agree on the standard, what exactly is a man supposed to walk in already knowing?
Do you ask your partner for consent too?
Absolutely.
Goes both ways.
Absolutely.
To her credit, Sarah applies the standard to herself too. That's consistent and it's fair. But consistency from one woman doesn't fix the problem, because the man walking into a date has no idea which woman he's about to meet. The one who finds a verbal check-in sexy and educated, or the one who will never even bring it up. And years later, at 71, describe going 5 years without touch because nobody ever said a word out loud.
How long had it been since you'd been sexually intimate?
About 5 years. I stopped on the dating apps when I was 65. Just dying of boredom, really.
That's the trap, gentlemen.
65?
That women disagree. People are allowed
Started in
to
dating
disagree.
apps at
The
65.
trap is that men
5 years
expected
ago.
to already know
Lady,
which standard applies.
The only person
Which
you
woman
should be getting
before the
prepared to date is
conversation even
Jesus.
starts. Guess her preference correctly, or you're either
hell?
creepy for asking too much, or aggressive for not asking at all.
And my initial reaction was really feeling angry because you were interested in the moment, and then again, you know me really well. We talk pretty often. We have talked a lot between those within the month as well. So you never brought this up before.
This is a good idea. I think you should try
but there's
commenting
something
on
else going
things
on.
slightly outside of your
different
sphere
events,
of
so
influence,
I
but
wasn't
they are
feeling
trending in the young
happy about it,
adults
but that's one
space. If you
instance where I feel
your
like
goal
it's
to expand.
backfired.
I always
Would
comment on a
talking
lot of
about
stuff
sex
outside
and
of my
asking
sphere
for
of
consent
expertise.
have
Like
been helpful in that
I
situation?
don't. Well, I'm not really an
I've
expert
thought
in
a lot about
anything.
it. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm sort of a jack
I
of
personally
trades,
feel women are so privileged
expert
in
in
this
martial
space where they
arts,
can
but
just point
and I'm a
the finger at
nerd when
someone
it comes
and
to
it's
things
still
like
men who has to
psychology and
prove their
philosophy. But
innocence to other people. So
I really have no
people in the
circle
back.
of
The burden
expertise
of
or
proof in
influence,
the
so
court of
everything is
public
pretty much
opinion
outside of my
sits
sphere.
almost
I just try to
entirely on the
approach
man.
it with
A woman
a
raises a
skeptical
concern, and the man's job
and hopefully
instantly,
rational
publicly,
mindset,
is to prove a negative,
even
prove
if it's
he
something
did it,
that I
prove his
haven't,
intentions,
that I
prove
don't
his
know much
character.
about.
Meanwhile, the accusation itself
But I
requires
can
no
always
proof
look
at
up
all
further
to do its
information
damage. That asymmetry
and
is why men
again
are opting
apply
out, gentlemen,
principles of
not because
reason
they're scared of
and a
women,
healthy dose of
because the rules
skepticism
keep
to the
changing.
things to which
Nobody
I
will write them down, and the penalty for getting it wrong,
encounter.
even innocently, even in good faith, is total.
And you just got back from New York?
Yeah, I was in the Hamptons.
Oh my God, wonderful.
I was like, get me out of here, out of Australia. See you later. Goodbye. All I'm going to say is American men are just as weak as the Australian men. Just
Really?
Putting it out there. They don't approach you there either.
I wonder why,
It's
bitch.
so interesting because everyone always says that American men are way more forward.
Maybe from Texas, the South, but not in New York. I can assure you.
Because they
They're
try to
more
lose their
masculine.
career messing with some.
Everyone's scared. Everyone's like, am I gonna have to approach someone? No, thank you. Not happening. Sorry.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
women in
There it is again,
the
gentlemen.
UK and Australia
The
just as
same women
Delulu.
who won't hand men a blueprint are the same women complaining that men have stopped trying. You cannot build a system where every approach is a legal and reputational risk. Refuse
Exactly.
to clarify the rules and then act shocked when men calculate the odds and walk away from
If
the
they
table
think that
entirely.
they're, if a guy thinks his career
Bones
or
didn't
his
opt out
freedom
because he hates women.
or just his
He opted out
social
because he did the math. One
life
misread
will
signal,
be
one
at
bad
risk
night, one
from an
screenshot
innocent
posted at
encounter.
2
Like, why
a.m.
should they?
and years of reputation gone.
I mean, I'm
with
from
no
an age
court,
where you
no
had to.
appeal,
There was no other
and
choice.
no way
But
back.
at the same
Natalie can
time,
tell
we
you
didn't have
on
video
camera,
constantly
laughing,
recording
that
us.
she's pushed herself on a
So
man
mistakes
who
didn't live
wasn't in the
on
mood,
in
and the
infamy
moment passes
to destroy your
without
life.
consequence. Amal can
I'm
read
watching
every
Manosphere
cue in the
highlights
room correctly
daily.
by every conventional standard and still end up the villain in someone else's story a month later. That's not equality, gentlemen. That's a system where the standard for men is perfection under ambiguity, and the standard for everyone else is good intentions after the fact. We're not saying don't hold men accountable. We're saying hold everyone to the same rule. Write it down, make it clear, apply it the same way to the same behavior, regardless of who's doing it. Until that happens, don't be surprised when men keep quietly leaving the table.
Yep. I don't even fault the MGTOW group. Like, some people see them all as incels. A lot of them are, but not all of them are incels. And even if they were, again, can't really blame them. So, yeah.
Listen to all, follow none.
Manosphere, we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.
I'm gonna switch gears and
I take each opportunity to share what's important to me. Believe it, be it.
hold up. What, something fun to bring this full circle?
With 6 grams of protein.
This is good. So good.
I'm pretty sure if I was a kid, I would have loved Yogurt. But those weren't around when I was little. I don't think they were.
I felt stuck. And I
For
wanted
me,
more stuff.
it was all about having a Capri
Some
Sun.
days, getting older, it's just like I need to kind of focus and lock.
The cage door locks with a sound like a bank vault sealing shut. 3 fighters are already done for the night, blood drying on the canvas under the lights. The crowd still buzzing since the last stretcher rolled out. Cage side, a title belt hangs on a hook with nobody's name on it yet. Here's the deal. The most skilled human being alive is about to run into something training can't touch. No weapons, no gadgets, no prep, no home turf. 6 bodies and the laws of physics, and only one name goes on that belt. So, can pure skill actually beat enhanced biology once you strip away the rule book, the clock, and every tool these characters normally
But
hide
some of them are
behind?
enhanced.
That's the real question.
Some of
this
these guys are
bracket's built
enhanced.
to answer. Not who's coolest, but which of these documented power sets holds up naked. This is Mike. We're back
Oh,
for
or
another
Sunny
awesome
D.
video for Nerd Science.
Yeah,
Leave
yeah.
a like,
But
subscribe,
Sunny D wasn't
and
something
let's
you could
roll
pack in
it.
your lunch.
Let's
At least I
rewind.
don't. They got
Fight
the
one.
small ones,
Fight one.
but I don't remember anyone
Nightwing
taking
versus
those. In
Daredevil.
the, at least,
Dick
I mean, I
Grayson
wasn't going
steps in
somewhere.
first. And if you know
I wasn't in school where
acrobatics,
people
you
had the
know
Sunny
what you're
D's for
watching.
lunch.
His proprioception, his brain's live map of where every limb is in space. sits at about the highest
Okay,
baseline a
Nightwing.
human body can
Okay,
hit.
Nightwing.
He's throwing spinning
Okay,
strikes
Nightwing.
that land close to 1,500 pounds of force. Matt Murdock has none of that circus pedigree. What he has is the thing the characters actually build around. And here's where I want you to slow down with
Daredevil's
me,
gonna win
because
this, I think.
almost everybody gets Daredevil's power wrong. People call it a sixth sense. Like it's vague, it isn't. His radar sense reads the world through vibration, echo, and heat. And it's worth knowing the writers have redrawn it constantly. Early on, it was basically bat sonar. Frank Miller turned it into the impressionistic world on fire. The one detail that survives every version is the one that matters in a locked cage. Daredevil doesn't track your fist. He tracks the muscles that fire a tenth of a second before the fist moves. Based on how he's been written for
Yeah, he's
60
gonna win.
years, he's reacting to the punch before Grayson's brain finishes sending it, so the fight opens fast. Nightwing uses the fence like a gymnast uses a vault, launching off it to feed rotational speed into his kicks. For a second, the more explosive athlete looks like he's taken over, but Daredevil isn't trying to match that. He doesn't need to out-jump a former circus performer. He needs 2 inches of slip on every exchange, and in a 40-foot cage, 2 inches is all there is. That's
what
trap
she said.
with flashy strikers nobody talks about. All that vertical movement burns oxygen, and Nightwing's breathing through his mouth by the second minute. Daredevil's barely moving his feet, pivot, slide, let the other guy do the work of missing. By round 2, Nightwing's chasing a man he can't hit. And chasing burns exactly the fuel this fight punishes. His hands drop half an inch on the return. Half an inch is nothing to the eye. It's
Again, that's
everything
what she
to
said.
a man who can hear a heartbeat change. Daredevil steps inside a wide left hook and puts 3 shots on the jaw before the arm finishes its arc. Grayson goes down clean. First knockout of the night. Tear of survival for Grayson. B. Reflex.
Grime working overtime? Dr. T?
That's plaque bacteria, and it can spread. Try Crest Pro Health.
Its antibacterial technology kills 99% of bacteria to protect the whole mouth. Other toothpaste don't. Crest.
Yeah, here's a secret. If you just brush
Of all the tools
multiple
we
times a
use,
day, not just twice,
our most powerful
you
tool
protect your teeth.
is
regardless
understanding
of the
what will
toothpaste.
make you feel something.
They're not going to tell you that.
Reflexes trained since childhood, and they still lose to a sense
after
that
every
never
meal.
blinks. That's the whole fight, honestly. Nightwing brought the better highlight reel. Daredevil brought a nervous system that never stops scanning. So, if pure athleticism just lost to a blind man, what happens when the next fighter isn't fully human to begin with? Fight 2. Hawkeye versus Deathstroke.
Oh, come on.
Clint Barton walks out next, and the tournament's
How the fuck is
already
Hawkeye gonna
doing
compete with
something a
Deathstroke?
little cruel to him. Strip the gadget quiver and the trick arrows, and you've taken away the exact thing the character is. Hawkeye's whole canon identity is the bow. Barehanded, he's a genuinely elite fighter. Shield training, Avengers level hand-to-hand. But his ceiling is human. Fully human, trained to the edge of what a person becomes and still bound by the same muscle
Hawkeye versus
fibers as
Deathstroke,
everyone at
this
ringside.
should be a
Slade Wilson's
one-round fight.
4 starts above that ceiling. And here's the canon detail
he's at
people
Captain
love
America
to
level
butcher.
of
For
enhancement.
decades, the book said Deathstroke uses 90% of his brain, leaning on an old pop science myth. DC quietly cleaned it up. The modern read is that his brain processes information about 9 times faster than a normal human's. Same results on the canvas. Clint's jab, the one that blurs past a normal opponent, arrives to Slade almost lazily, like it's dragging through water. Clint opens up with the dirty, efficient boxing of a guy who's fought in actual war zones. No wasted motion, elbows tight, chin down. He lands a cross that drops most heavyweights cold. Slade barely registers it, and this is where I have to correct the instinct to lowball him, because Deathstroke isn't a bit stronger. Cannon puts him at the strength of 10 men, tossing people one-armed, ripping a door off a jet. comfortably in the
Through the
multi-ton
strong
range. Clint's best shot lands on a frame built to shrug off far worse. Then Slade starts hunting. He's not just faster.
I'm sorry, if Batman
he's
doesn't
reading.
claim
Within
the
30
belt,
seconds,
I'm gonna be
he
mad.
clocks the slight lean Clint carries on his left, an old compensation from years
I mean,
of
are they
drawing
gonna
bow.
include Iron Fist
Cuts
or
the exact
Shang-Chi?
angle Clint always
Even still, I will
favors. He
argue
drops
Batman's
him into
still
full
better
mount.
than Iron
And
Fist.
world-class human strength means nothing under a man who
And he's better
outmuscles
than
him
Captain
by
America.
a
He's beat
ton.
him
No rush,
canonically.
methodical. The choke locks
I mean, it's a
in, and
crossover,
Clint
so it's not
taps
exactly
just before the
canonically,
lights
but
go.
in
Tier
the
of
fight,
survival
he
for
won.
Hawkeye. C+. And the reason isn't
Although he
heart
admitted to
or
Captain
skill,
America
it's
that if the
biology
fight
and
went
it's the
on
matchmaking. He
because
walked
of
in as the most
Steve
human
Artist's
man in the
unlimited
bracket
endurance, he would
against a
eventually
meta-human built to
out
outthink him in
by
real
attrition.
time. No amount of training closes that gap. 2 fights in, and the tournament's real question is already hanging there. Does skill mean anything once actual enhancement shows up across the cage? Fight
Sometimes.
3, Batman versus Daredevil.
Wait, but
Bruce Wayne
hold on,
walks
hold on,
out
hold
for
on, hold on,
round
hold on.
Ways favors, he drops him into full mount. And world-class human strength means nothing under a man who outmuscles him by a ton. No rush, methodical. The choke locks in, and Clint taps just before the lights go. Tier of survival for Hawkeye. C+. And the reason isn't heart or skill, it's biology and it's the matchmaking. He walked in as the most human man in the bracket against a
Like I said, he was
meta-human
the
built to
he was the
outthink
weakest
him in
guy.
real time. No amount of
Nightwing
training
would have beat
closes
him
that
easily.
gap.
He
2 fights
he
in,
was
and
the
the
weakest.
tournament's real
Putting him
question
against
is already hanging
Deathstroke was
there.
just
Does skill
diabolical.
mean anything
He had
once
not.
actual enhancement shows up
He
across
didn't
the
even have a
cage?
a
Fight
boxer.
3,
He didn't even have a
Batman
puncher's
versus
chance.
Daredevil. Bruce Wayne
In most
walks
fights,
out
you
for
still
round
have
3,
a
and
puncher's
he's done the
chance.
math before his boots
Hawkeye
hit
never had a puncher's
canvas.
chance
He
against
knows
Deathstroke.
what beat Nightwing. He knows Daredevil isn't reading fists.
Now,
He's reading
Batman versus
noise,
Daredevil, okay.
heartbeat, breath, the whole
He's Marvel's
electrical
Batman.
signature. A stressed body leaks. So Batman tries something nobody else in this bracket thought to. He goes quiet. That monastic breathing control. And yes, this is canon. Batman's slowed his own heart to fake death more than once. Drops his resting rate into the 40s before the bell. He's trying to lower his own volume in a fight where silence isn't really on the menu. Now, I know what this stretch of the bracket's starting to feel like. Enhanced guy beats skilled guy. Rinse and repeat. Stick with me, because this is the fight where that pattern breaks. And it breaks in the least intuitive way in the whole tournament. It buys Batman something, not everything. Daredevil's raw reaction window still sits under 150 milliseconds, and no breathing pattern changes nerve conduction speed. Batman knows it, which is why he never tries to win the speed exchange. Every time Daredevil closes, expecting a striking match, Batman refuses it. He circles low, clinches early, turns open floor into a phone booth. Here's the part the movies always flatten. Adaptations sell Batman as punches and a utility belt. The comics build him as one of the deepest grapplers on the planet. Judo, Aikido, catch wrestling, arts specifically designed to turn 210 pounds of trained mass into leverage. He shoots low, wraps both arms around Daredevil's hips, and drives him down with a throw that looks gentle right up until you see how fast that back hits canvas. And now the fight changes shape. Slow down with me, because this is the actual mechanism on the ground. Two bodies grinding together becomes sensory chaos, and an overloaded radar sense is a documented Daredevil weakness, not something I'm inventing. Shoulder on ribs, knee on thigh, breath on neck. Every contact point is now a signal, which means none of it is. His pristine sense of space, the thing that made him untouchable against Nightwing, drowns in its own static. Daredevil keeps finding shots, elbows off the mat, a scrambled guard recovery, but every exchange dumps him back under Batman's weight. That's the part skill can't fix. Nobody's ground game in this bracket was built to match Batman's. When the elbow lands clean behind the ear, Murdoch's out before he registers it. Tier survival for Daredevil, B+, and it's a strange one to write. He just lost to a man who solved his superpower in real time using breathing drills and hip throws. No enhancement at all. A trained mind found a blind spot inside a character who's supposed to have none. The question now is whether that trick survives contact with someone whose nervous system doesn't get confused by noise in the first place. Fight 4, Captain America versus Deathstroke. This is the one half the arena bought tickets for. Steve Rogers against Slade Wilson. Two men rebuilt by military science, finally across the cage from each other. And I gotta be straight with you here before the bell, because this is the matchup the comment section gets wrong more than any other in the bracket. On the stat sheet, Slade wins this. It isn't close. Marvel's own handbooks file Captain America as peak/enhanced human, an 800-pound overhead press. Reflexes about 10 times a normal person's. Extraordinary, but human tier. DC's Rebirth made Deathstroke status official. The serum tripped a metagene, so he's a straight-up metahuman. Stronger by a ton. Faster processing, plus a healing factor Cap flatly does not have. If you're scoring attributes, put your money on Slade and don't feel bad about it. So, how does Cap take it? One variable, and it's canon, not a cheat. Slow down with me. Erskine's serum has a specific documented property most fight breakdowns skip. It counteracts the fatigue poisons, the lactic acid, that force a
Didn't
normal
I tell you he has
body to
unlimited
slow
endurance?
down.
I told
On
you.
paper, that's 12 hours of
Told ya.
maximum output before Rogers
I thought I
even
told ya.
tires. There's no gas tank to empty. He throws in the 20th minute exactly like the first. The exchanges open ugly. Full power, no feeling out. Cap's jab lands around 1,200 pounds of force, and Slade eats 3, just measuring the guard. Slade answers with a knee that would fold most fighters in half. And here's where I correct the easy version of this story, because Cap does feel that. He's not tanking a metahuman like it's nothing. It hurts. He absorbs it because the serum's durability is real. This is a man who's canonically walked away from building collapses, 200-foot falls onto cars, even a bullet to the head. But every one of those exchanges is a withdrawal. And he's betting he has more in the account than Slade does, because here's Slade's actual limit, and it's written into his own books. The healing factor slows when it's overloaded. Too much damage in too short a window, or too much exhaustion, and the regeneration lags until he can rest. Cap's whole game is denying him that rest. Every exchange stacks fresh trauma onto damage that hasn't finished closing. By the 4th minute, Slade's guard sinks a fraction each round. The same half-inch collapse that ended Nightwing, except now it's happening to the deadliest mercenary in the building. Cap closes with textbook form, short right hand, full hip rotation, straight onto the jaw mid-recovery. And this is the one rule that beats a healing factor. Slade's blood can knit the tissue, but it can't rewind the half-second his brain stops receiving signals. His own canon is explicit. He does not survive a lethal disruption to the brain. A clean knockout isn't a wound he heals. It's the off switch. He's down before he lands. Tier of survival for Deathstroke, A. Still the most physically gifted fighter this bracket has produced. Beaten, not because Cap is tougher on paper, but because a limitless gas tank strapped to a brain shot is the one build his healing can't outmath. 2 finalists left. Neither's shown a crack. Anybody's actually pried open.
Here we
The
go.
final Batman versus Captain America.
Here we go.
A belt fight. Bruce Wayne against
sir.
Steve Rogers. Best
Yes,
trained
sir.
mind in the sport against a body
Yes,
that
sir.
physiologically refuses to quit. And
Yes,
the belt
sir.
that's been hanging cage side all night finally has two names it could take. Round one. Batman opens low, chopping leg kicks to the outside of Cap's thigh, the style that's crippled fighters twice his size. Each one landing with roughly 1,000 pounds of torque behind it. Cap just checks him. Batman reads it in one exchange and stops feeding him targets. Round two, he changes levels and shoots the double leg, the exact takedown that ended Daredevil.
Are you
He
watching
needs
this,
to know
or are you
if
just listening
serum
to the?
reflexes fold on the mat the way sensory ones did. Cap sprawls before Batman.
Like I said,
hits
canonically,
finish
he's beaten
driving.
Captain
Weight
America
already down. Like he read the setup
in both
a half-second
crossovers
early.
between
No
DC and Marvel,
scramble,
he's
no
beaten
fight
Captain
for
America.
position. He's just already there. And here's the beat I have to be honest about, because
But this
it's
may
the
be different.
whole reason this bracket exists. Fandom has turned Batman always wins with enough prep into
Time. It's our most valuable asset.
That was a perfect
Especially
segue
in
ad
That's
with
why
enough.
every cat
Then it
CPA
said
comes with
it went to
services
the
commitment.
advertisement and it
Next day
says
parts,
time.
2-day repair.
That was a
We built
that
a
was the
plan
most
to keep
perfect
you up
segue
and
to
running.
a
One that puts
YouTube ad
time
I've ever seen
back
on
in your
YouTube
Ask your
in
dealer about
the
services commitment.
21 years that I've watched YouTube. Of course, they didn't have ads back then, so but you get what I mean.
into scripture. It's also the tell. Prep is the equalizer, the gadgets, the contingency, the week of study. Strip all of it, put him barehanded in a cage against a serum soldier, and the cannon read is the uncomfortable one. Peak human loses to enhanced human when there's nothing on the table but bodies. Batman's own writers built prep into the character precisely because they know what happens without it. Round 3, biology writes the ending. Batman's heart rate climbs past 180 beats per minute. Shirt soaked through, punches losing that last inch of snap between a finisher and a tired man.
But if you do
Cap
want to check out the
breathing has
videos, it's called
changed
Nerd
since the
Science.
opening bell. No lactic buildup, no fatigue curve, nothing for Batman's cardio to exploit because there's no ceiling to find. Desperate, Batman goes to a nerve cluster over the heart, a pressure point strike that's dropped trained killers in fights nobody saw. And I love that he tries it because it's a mirror. Cap uses pressure points too, canonically, on foes far bigger than himself. The difference is that Rogers' reinforced system, reacting at 10 times normal speed,
I rarely use
doesn't
pressure
even
points
file
because
it
they
as a threat.
really
That fractional half
that
second
rarely
where
works
Batman's surest
in
strike does nothing
an actual
is
fight,
the opening.
just
the
because
counterhook
it's
comes from nowhere.
for
Full hip
one,
rotation,
it
textbook.
requires
And it's
the person
over
to be
before
sensitive enough
Batman's brain
to
finishes
react to them.
processing that the nerve strike failed. Clean knockout.
Like
No
the nerve
split
strikes
decision,
and pressure
no
point strikes.
gray
And two,
area. The most skilled
it
fighter
requires
in
fine
either
motor
universe
skills. A lot
just
of your
lost
fine motor
to a
skills are going to
body
be
that never had a limit to
hindered
find.
in the when you got that
Cap's
rush
hand
of
goes up. The belt comes
adrenaline during
down
a
off
fight,
its
the
hook.
fear, the
His
adrenaline.
name goes on it.
You have to
Batman's
rely
still
on
the
gross
canvas.
motor skills,
Still
not
the best trained
fine
human
motor
being
skills.
either universe has
Will
ever
only
produced, and
work
it's
if
still
you
one
train
now.
them like
Skill
thousands
has
of
a
times.
ceiling. Serum grade.
So that's really, yeah, it's really gonna pressure point strikes and nerve strikes rarely work in real fights because they're often require fine motor skills, and those fine motor skills are going to be almost completely absent during the heat of a real fight or like situation where you have to defend yourself.
Still the precision, no gray area.
Is that true you
The
can use
most
them
skilled
like
fighter
grappling?
in either universe just
I
lost
use it a lot
to a
when grabbing
body
arms by
that
the
never
elbow.
had a limit to find.
Yeah.
Cap's hand goes up. The belt comes down off its hook.
Well, Captain America
His
won
name
this.
goes on it.
That's fair.
Batman's still on the canvas. Still the best trained human being either universe has ever produced, and
That's
it
fair.
still wasn't enough. Skill has a ceiling. Serum grade biology doesn't. That's not me picking a favorite. That's just where the documented power sets land once you take away the tools. So, who do
I
you think
agree,
actually
but
wins this in a
again,
real fight? Drop
canonically,
your pick
he's
in the
beat
comments.
Captain
And if you
America
want
twice.
more breakdowns like this,
But it wasn't in
like
a
and
in a
subscribe
cage match,
for the
which is
next
what they're
one.
doing here. So that's fair.
AI is changing everything. But that's your thing. Change.
Anyway, all right, I'm out, bro. It's getting late for me, so guys, take it easy for the people who might be watching this on replay. But appreciate the conversation. Come back more often. Yeah, all of them were without gear. This was like these superheroes fighting in a cage match. So you can check it out on Nerd Science. But I'm out. Take it easy.